me today is my colleague Joachim. He's our pre-sales manager. And we have Nico, who is the product manager for 2020 Insight. And I guess most of you guys know me, York, located here in the Toronto office in Canada. Our little review, 12.4 is the latest version out there. Very soon we will release also 12.5. But as you know, we have released 33 new features and enhancement. So we do this kind of session every quarter. Every major release, every quarter, we like to update all of our customers so that you get an idea, at least on the highlights of what's been done. Everyone gets the email with the updates on, the little things like these very detailed enhancements. It's a document which is in the download package for that particular version. Just a review here. A lot of these enhancements are actually coming from you guys, from our customer base, and that is awesome. Thank you so much for that feedback. And the last part is, if we don't cover everything today, as I said, only the highlights, look at your release notes from 12.4, ask Heidi to get the link to the download package, and then go through the details in there. So today what we really want to do is and then focus on the browser-based business intelligence module. It's a new one, completely browser-based. There's some technology updates in there as well, which we'll explain. We look at the automated kitting, assembly kitting area, that new functionality. The PS WinStore integration. We do have a new financial integration with Microsoft Dynamics Business Central. We have a complete new module, the asset management module. We will talk about that in more details, and additional enhancements, what we've done so far. So let's get started. I had to change the sequence here a little bit so that we don't have to change back and forth between the presenters. Let's get started with the automated assembly kitting. So what happens is really what we see lately on the pre-sorting side, before we come to the assembly line, that a lot of parts are being cut. We want to organize them in a certain way so that we can build the cabinets or the furniture later on based on this one. And for the pre-sorting side, we came up with the idea that, and it's actually some practice in a lot of companies already, but that it's guided now, that you have different type of storage types. Probably either there is a cart like this one, or there is maybe a rack, where we at the end of the day want to make sure that each slot in here contains a cabinet. Basically, all of the cabinets can have different sizes, and as you can see here, we can put 10 smaller cabinets in there and a tall cabinet in this cart. Why are we doing this? Obviously, it was a requirement by you guys, by our customers, that we have that functionality. We see that we want to utilize maximum capacity in the shop, really, balancing production, and we see that core material becomes more and more expensive. So a lot of companies don't want to run one job at a time through the optimizer, but they want to rather look at, do I have multiple jobs with the same kind of ship date, the same kind of core material, and then group them together and optimize them together for better yield. And the outcome is usually that we have a stack of parts from either different sales orders together or mix and match in here, and we need to resort them back into the original job. So for that part, we use these racks or the carts, where we do the pre-sorting before we go to the assembly. Now, before we can really get into this, there are a lot of functionalities also required in the system. For an example, racks have different dimensions, parts have different dimensions. Some companies, they like, you scan something and you need to know where it's going, that a little light goes on. That's obviously with a card a little bit more difficult. With racks, that's doable. But because of different kind of sizes, inside under the location profile, you would basically define on which kind of slot sizes you have for this individual part. As you can see, a regular cabinet goes in something, has certain dimensions, and a tall cabinet would go somewhere else. That is critical later on when you start scanning and the system suggests in which kind of slot that part needs to be put. Now, when we look at these locations which we have defined, then obviously we need to bring or build the link between the items inside or the parts and the locations. And as you can see here, if I pick a certain item, I define basically that this is a tall cabinet, and those components need to go in that particular slot when I scan it later on. So for as a next step on the data setup, in order to make this work, we also have to go into our checkpoints, and within the checkpoints, we need to identify how I want to scan the parts, how I want to move material. Do I want to update inventory, for an example, at that point in time, and move it from one inventory location into another inventory location? And then one other thing which is really important within the checkpoints is we are defining like cluster groups. And cluster groups inside is what do I want to group together in a cart, for an example? Should I say only one particular sales order can go in one cart? If I have scanned something apart on the stack, which comes to the kitting area, and that belongs to another sales order, then in this case, it would go to another cart. You can also build these cluster groups by projects. So you want to have projects together in a cart, or shipments, or everything related to production end date together. So you can really define what needs to go in a certain cart and identify these in the checkpoints under the cluster groups. So let's go a little bit more practical here, and because of having the right scan points here, I did some screenshots. So let's scan the first part here, and let me browse with the mouse here for a second. As you can see, for an example, these racks here. This is, by the way, a new form inside all browser-based. As you know, this is the shop floor site. I can see how many locations I have in a certain rack or cart, and how many empties I have. And in this case, I have nothing scanned. So if I would go ahead and scan the first part, so inside places the part in rack A, column 1, row 1. So that means I'm scanning at this point in time a part which belongs to a B15L, and that belongs to a sales order 2235. And as you can see, it places this automatically in the first available rack, which is there in that kitting area. And in this part, it occupies a certain location. Basically, it's a base cabinet. It occupies, in my case, one of these. And in this case, I have 9 locations available. So that means 8 locations in that particular cart, or rack in this case, are still available. So I can also go for that particular cabinet into details. And then I can see, oh, I scanned that top. So basically, if I go back here, that's my first kitted item into a certain slot out of 11. So the other ones have not been scanned yet. And inside does automatically a status update. So let's scan another part here. That one is now a second part. So, upsala. Second part for my B15L, same sales order number. And as you can see, it's not using a new location, but it puts the second part in that same location. And then if I drill down into the details, I can see it was an end panel, which I scanned. And with that, I only have 10 parts left. And 2 are already scanned. So scan another part. In this case, we are scanning a tall cabinet. And as you can see, it puts that tall cabinet, because it has a different location profile, it puts this into in another location. If you remember that card for an example, which I showed the image in the beginning, you would see on the left-hand side the longer slot for that cabinet. So it's the same rack, the same sales order, but because it is a tall cabinet, it moves this into another location. And if I scan another part, then you would see that that part, it is again a B15L, but it's related to another sales order, 2234. And that means now, because my clustering rule says I want to group by sales order per card, or rack in this case, then it picks automatically the next available rack and uses the first available empty slot in there. And so I'm putting this one now into, because it's a different sales order, into another rack. As you can see here, the details for that particular part. Also, very often, maybe you have put something in the wrong slot or in the wrong rack, or something went wrong. Anyhow, you can also unkit it. Either you can scan that part again, or you drill down in your view on your screen here and then hit enter on that, and it's on the bottom here again. So then the system asks you, do you want to unload this one? And then you can say, yes, I want to unload it. And then you can go through a regular process. Very often, if you work with cards, you also maybe have the challenge that these cards are on wheels, and the wheel falls off, and that card need to go to the maintenance department, or something else broke on that card. So you want to say that this card is at this point in time no longer available to scan into. It's a kitting area. So you can disallow that card as a warehouse. So basically check it off the list, say, okay, this card is no longer available for scanning purpose. Once all the components have been scanned for an assembled, or for a product inside, like a cabinet, then it changes automatically the status of that cabinet to ready to assemble. And that means all the parts are available, and then somebody moves either the entire card, or if it's on the rack, you can have a light which goes on the other side, that you take all of the components out of the slot which belongs to that particular cabinet, put it on the assembly line and assemble. But at least everyone knows all the parts are there. And then you have the same functionality here on the screen for the workers, so that they can see on how to put this cabinet together. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of how this new pre-sorting before assembly line works. If you have more questions, again, we are always here to discuss it in more detail with you. The other one which we want to discuss today is the Bierce WinStore integration. So we have worked with our customers, some who have already the Bierce WinStore system in place, and also with Bierce itself on providing the correct information to feed that the WinStore system, so that the WinStore system can work with the inside data and does all the rainbow stacking, knows where the parts are, which sheet needs to go for pre-labeling, how to put the label on it, how to machine it later on, so that you get the desired outcome after cutting. So we just to review for the WinStore system, we do need our new optimization module, which is every one of you guys who have anything with machine integration would get that anyhow. But that is a requirement to have that that module. And just a quick review, you remember that with the new optimization module in Insight, we have the possibility to run multiple optimizations at the same time. So for an example, you want to do either 3 cuts to get a part out of a sheet or 5 cuts out of the sheet. And on one side, you have better yield. On the other side, the processing time of cutting the parts out would be faster. So certain things based on if it's a panel saw or if it's a nested-based router behind the WinStore system, these are important information which we feed over there. We see on the optimization results later on how many sheets we need. We support the random management, and we get accurate costing for the whole thing. Again, one more time, we listed it here because you get a recording of everything, and you can request this PowerPoint. That we need the optimization console module for that. So what we do is, let's say from a process point of view, if somebody in Insight creates production orders or batches, however they want to call this, and you want to group multiple jobs together or one job at a time, or you can also have an on-demand action just running sales order by sales order through the system. But there are basically 3 information which we are passing over to the WinStore system. The first one is the CNC program, an important per pattern with the macro calls for labels. So what that means is there's a subprogram which controls basically where the labels need to be placed later on that sheet before it's being cut. And obviously the CNC program, right? After optimization. The other one is there's an XML file for the labels that contains all the data which the WinStore later on needs to print information on a label. And then the last file is a material file for one file in particular for each material after the optimization. So that means if you have a batch which you are sending into which you want to run through the system and send to the WinStore, there could be one file for all the 4x8 parts which you're cutting out of a certain core material. Maybe then there's another file for also 4x8 but a different core material, different color for an example. So those information being sent directly from Insight into the WinStore system, and then basically WinStore does the handling at the end of the day on its own, so that they know what needs to be cut and in which kind of sequence needs to be cut. So, but again, there's no need for manual sorting or anything else. All of this information comes really from Insight at this point in time. And if you have again any other questions related to this one, more than happy to answer this at the end of the session here, or follow up with one of us later on in the next coming days if you need more details on this one. The Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central link. Basically, an integration on the AP and AR side with the latest version of Microsoft. Probably a lot of people know that Great Plains version of Dynamics that is being sunset, or not sunset, or discontinued. So Microsoft is moving to these 365, and therefore a lot of other things were not supported anymore. And we have changed our standard integration to be up to date with the financial systems out there. We do, as you all know, we do other financial systems as well, but we have decided this one because it's so common and so many customers and people in the industry ask for it. We built a standard module for that. Dynamics is available cloud or on-premise. We support both of those versions. You know that if you create a sales order invoice inside, we pass this over, accumulated by general ledger, over to Dynamics, so that the accountants or the financial team can work on the collection side. Same with vendor invoices. You know, we create a purchase order inside. We receive material from the vendor. Once we get the invoice from the vendor, we do this three-way match, where we basically compare invoice to PO and receipt. And once that has been completed inside and it's okay, then we pass this information over, again, accumulated by general ledger, over to the AP side of a financial system, in this case, the 365, so that a check can be issued out of there. Inventory transactions, based on your demand. If you have, for an example, banks are asking very often for what's the value and inventory at a given time. So you take these snapshots, we pass this information over, where you have, for an example, you cut a component out of a sheet, you add labor to that throughout the process, and then we take the snapshot on this one at a given time and pass this information over to Dynamics as well, so that the financial team can use this data and report to banks or whatever they need to do with this data. Credit limit check obviously include as well, compared with open ARs, and then we usually look at the credit limit assigned to the customer, and then either it's a go through the workflow tool to release that job into production, or sending an email notification to the finance team that they need to follow up with that customer, and so that payments are being made, so that the job can be released for further processing. And you can see the bottom two parts here, customer vendor master. It's a bi-directional integration. So update these either the phone numbers, addresses, and inside, and it updates this one automatically on the financial side as well. One thing very important, if it's a cloud-based, whatever you install, Dynamics cloud-based or on-premise, these web services released by us are required in order to connect for that interface. Alrighty, again, I cannot stress that enough. This is an update, what we have done so far. If any one of you needs more detailed information, or technical, or realizing that integration within the environment, please contact us through support, and more than happy to jump on this one with you guys to get this up and running. So the next one is something my colleague Joachim will tackle, and right. Over to Joachim.
Hi, hello to everybody. So I just have to switch to my screen first of all. Just a second. This is your ground still. I'm not allowed to share my screen so far. Trish, maybe you have to switch. Now I can just see number one. This is the screen. Okay, good. So just a second. Okay, good. So I have the pleasure now to present, to show you our first module outside of the shop floor clients, what you already know. The first module, what we transferred now to the browser-based solution, and we said we want to or prefer to show it really in the software. So I switch now directly to Insight and to show you what you can do and how it looks when you work in the future with a browser-based solution with Insight. First of all, most of you, I think, will have already the BI module in use. And I think it is important to know for you that there is already an action what allows you to copy your existing dashboard to the browser-based solution. So in the dashboard templates, you find in the future then an action called copy dashboards to web. When you start this action, you have then here the possibility to choose the user who created these dashboards. And from here, you have then the possibility to choose them. And the only thing what you have to do to copy them then to the web solution is to select them and click here OK. And in this moment, you will have this dashboard already in the web. And I will not do this because we did this already. We prepared this in the beginning. And I switch now to the browser-based solution here. And you know already, hopefully all of you, the shop floor assistant. And we added now here two new modules, the business intelligence and also the asset management. This will be then the next. But we start now here with the business intelligence. If I click on this, you get the overview like you have in the shop floor solution. And in this case, I have here only dashboards, what I can choose. First of all, you see the look and feel is totally different from that what you know from the desktop solution. So we have here dashboard layouts. And if I click and say, please show me what I have, then you get here a list of these dashboards. When I do a double click on new sales as an example, then you see some settings. Everything what is mandatory has this little star, the orange one here on the top. And you see this one has the name new sales, it has a sequence. You can use this for a template as well. You can add this to your slideshow. This is what you have here as the base data for a dashboard. And then we can click here on this little icon. In this way, we go back to the other page. And then I have here now the possibility to say, please view me this dashboard. And also here you see already, we really refreshed. We show that we refresh. We have here a little button, refresh all. So and you see that you get then the latest data, what we have in the dashboards. And yeah, it is totally dynamic now. So you can move around with this single dashboards. You can move them where you want to have them. If you change the size of one of these dashboards, we also change in the same time then the picture so that it appears bigger or smaller. And yeah, it's completely flexible in the way how you look on this. If you prepared such a view completely, then you have here in the corner on the left, on the top, you have here then the possibility to save the view. So when you start next time this dashboard, you will see everything in the same way. A single dashboard.
Excuse me, Joachim?
Yeah?
Could you just move a little closer to your mic? You're just getting a little quiet.
Really? Because I'm sitting in front of it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So what you see here then is that the content behind is more or less the same, just how you use this and how you change this is a bit different. You have then here the button where you can switch the settings, where you can change the settings, and it looks a bit the same. So we have then here the different sections where you have the common data, where you have the options, and when we scroll down, then we see here any reference values and so on. So it's the same, but here it's also, you can change the size of this, you can move them around, you can say I want to change the sequence of such a box. and you decide at the end how you look on this data and how you want to work with this at the end. Yeah, the question, or I don't know, but when you want to add a new one, for sure, you just click here on the plus and say you want to have a new one. Then you see this empty box, and this is all what you know already. You have this component, what we deliver, these store procedures, what we always deliver, and you can choose here from the list and create then the new one and add this in this way to your dashboard. This is the general functionality. When we go back, the same you have here as my example, we have here also something for production, and you see when I switch here now and change the size, it gets easier to read. So it's very easy to handle and more powerful, I think, than the old solution in the desktop. You also have here the possibility to copy a link from such a layout. You can fix this as a bookmark, use this. So someone who's not working in this and just want to see the data, he can use then these bookmarks here, these links to have a look on these dashboards as well. So yeah, that's so far from my side regarding the BI. The important question now is how you can use this now, because you have this as the desktop solution already available, but we are now in the web with this existing module, and the question is a bit how you can switch now and how you can use this new module when you switch to 12.4. And for this, I have Nico, and Nico will give you some additional information about what changed for you and what will change for you in the future now.
Thanks, Joachim. So yeah, as you said, I guess there's one question that everyone has now, and this is what is required to use the new BI, and are there any costs involved? And to answer one thing right away, if you already own the BI module itself and you may already use it on the desktop, there are no additional costs for you to use the web version of it. And that has just one simple reason why we did this. We want to encourage you actually to try out the new web features that we developed and we will continue to develop in the future for the browser-based client. And to support this, we have created a new what we call transitional license that allows you to use all of the available features of the browser-based client during 2020 Insight's transition towards a fully browser-based client, including all of the different forms you know. This loaner license is available since Insight 12.4.1. So there's one thing you would have to do to get this license. You would need to update to 12.4.1, and then you just need to give us a call or send us a message, and we will provide you these loaner licenses free of charge, and then you can use the new BI module on the web. Actually, I would like to talk a bit about this transition phase. We're currently equipping the Insight application for the future, and specifically this means that in the near future we want to make the entire Insight client browser-based. And in effect, that means that we are somehow completely redeveloping the entire front end with new modern web technologies, and most importantly with a chance to develop a more streamlined, faster and easier to use interface for our users and our customers. And as you know, Insight is a huge application with many, many different forms. And so it will take us some time until we will have a complete browser-based front end and until we will have converted each and every form to be browser-based. So it will be a longer journey. And we actually had two ways how to approach this. We could have quietly developed the browser-based client and in the end simply shown you the result, hoping that you would like it. But the other option is, and this is what we have decided for, we will take you with us on this journey and give you the opportunity to use these certain parts of Insight that we've already developed and finalized in the browser client early on, just like you've seen now here with the BI or the shop floor. This way, we hope that we can benefit from your feedback on the new user interface, and we can make sure that we are heading into the right direction for the further development. Actually, our first step on this whole journey started when we developed the browser-based shop floor. Now we took the second step with the BI and the brand new asset management module, which you will see in a second. And you will also see in our next browser developments that come the next versions that all of these modules and forms that we are converting now to the browser at the beginning of this journey, so to speak, have one thing in common, and that is that all of these modules you really have a benefit as a customer if you can use them in a web browser. And our plan is to focus on these kind of modules first. For example, the browser-based shop floor functionality has effectively reduced the effort required to install and maintain the software on your shop floor down to zero. Because all you need now to set up a checkpoint is a modern browser, and you need the URL. And in addition, of course, you can now use the checkpoint frames on any mobile device, and you no longer need to set up like complicated remote connections to costly terminal servers. So there are many reasons why the browser shop floor is superior to the desktop solution that we had, and it made sense to develop it first. And the same is true for the BI that we've seen here. I mean, let's face it, a BI must be web enabled or browser based nowadays in order to reach its main target audience. Because for example, the sales rep that wants to take a quick look at sales figures on his mobile phone right before jumping into the next customer meeting, and that is all possible now with this new BI. So we put a lot of thoughts into the sequencing of these web developments, and I hope that this little insight here has given you a good impression of first why we developed the browser client in the first place, and also what we use to determine the order in which we convert the modules. And I can assure you it will be an exciting time with many new opportunities, and we will place a lot of value on your feedback. And that's why I would be very happy if as many of you as possible try out our new web developments and actually give us feedback on the new user interface that we are building here. Good. I think next is Joachim again.
Yeah,
right?
I go
our
on.
brand new asset management.
Yeah. Okay, so then back to me. I hope you can hear me all. Trish, I don't know what happened here, but I hope it's now okay with the voice. Next is the asset management module. And before we go into the software and have a look on it, a few what we want to do with this and what can you do now with the asset management module. So first of all, it is a tool what allows you to manage and to log any assets what you have in your company. And this could be a machine like a CNC, a saw, it could be a forklift, any kind of tools. At the end, any kind of equipment what you have and where you want to have a look on, you can store in this asset management module. And the idea is that you can store here any kind of information. So information about the machine when you purchase this machine, when a service is necessary here, everything from this side you can store. But also in the asset management module has its own workflow. So the workflow will allow you then to connect and integrate the asset management module, and with this maybe the planned service on a machine in the production planning, so that when a machine is down, is not available via this asset and the asset management module, we are able then to say that a machine is on a certain time, on a certain day, not available, or again available, whatever happened here. And yeah, let us have a look onto the new asset management module. We go back here to the software, and we go now again back to the main menu and switch to the asset management. First of all, to keep it easy for you and simple, you have here the possibility to create what we call asset profiles. So when you have, for example, a lot of different kind of forklifts on your shop floor, then you can create templates for this. And in a template, you have then information like, first of all, the code of the machine, the forklift in this case, a description, a model, a make, who makes it. And we have the possibility, as you know, always with Insight, add any kind of attachment, a manual, for example, for this asset. And you can add here also any kind of notes. So someone did something with the machine, whatever. So something what is important for you, you can add here to this profile. And you have here also the possibility to check where this profile is already in use. So you see I have here 2 different forklifts, but from the same type. And what I can see here is then all these features, so serial number, acquired on, installed, and so on. These are the profiles, and these profiles you can use when you create a new one, that you don't have to prepare all the data manually so often. When we go now back and switch to the assets, then we will see I have here in my example the 2 forklifts, and for example here this Homax CNC machine. And if I now want to see what we have with this machine, I can do a double click. And again, you see the new form, like the form what you saw before with the business intelligence. Here it's the same. First of all, you can say how you want to have and how you want to look on the data. You can move this around. You can change the size of these things. You can save the view on this. This is now the new style, the new way how you can work in general with these modules and with these browser-based forms. Then what else do we have, especially with an asset? So this what you already saw, for example, in the template, so the code, the asset type, and so on. But you also have here the possibility now to connect an asset to a plant, so that you know this where it is located, and you also can connect it to a work center. So this is important when we want to react later on via the workflow on any problems what we have with this machine and with this planning and so on. Then we know now on which department it is, and then we can work with this information and but via the workflow decide what should happen when the machine is down or a tool is broken or is not, or is on service on a certain day. What should go on then here with this dates, so acquired, installed, the warranty expires on which day. This all are things what you can add here. You can add items to this. So what are the tools, not the tools, tools also, what you need with this machine. So in this case here, as an example, a washer, stainless steel, a specific nut, an engine, whatever you have, you can put this here also on this list. And of course, also attachments. You saw this before, operation manual, for example, and any kind of notes. So you see someone replaced the belt. This is something what you could add as a note here with who did it and on which day it happened. Important, and what else you can do now with all these assets, you have this service schedule. So you can create a plan when, at what day, at what week, whatever, what should happen, what should take place here as a service on this machine. And when I click on one of these, you see here these jobs. And I don't know if already someone of you used the new service module, what we have developed for the architectural millwork especially, and what you could use with the apps. We use now this same module also to create service orders for these assets. So just a bit different. What kind of data we save with these service orders, but it is the same module what you can use here. And in this, you have 2 ways to create a new service order. You can do this completely manually, or you start this process really from this side. So when I have a look on my asset, I click here on the CNC machine, then you have here in this form the possibility to choose this service order creation procedure action. And if I start this now, I can create from here, sorry, once again, I can create from here a service. And this could be a recurring one, so that you say every day, every week, every month, every year, for 10 times with an end date, you want to have this service order for this specific asset. And the other way is that you do this manually, so just create one. And in both ways, when you do this via this tool, or in the other way, the service order will appear in the desktop solution. And I switch now to the service orders. So what you will have here is then a service order for a specific type. So we say the order type is then asset service. Instead of having here a customer, we have then here the plan with this service order, and you see which asset it is where you want to do the service. So this is the asset what is connected to the service order now. Then the rest is the same, so you can create your own job types for all your assets. And you can then connect skills, characteristics, attachment, everything what is necessary to do this service later on. And this service order is also then scheduled in our service order scheduling. So when you now in the service order scheduling, it can get based on your automatic generation of service orders placed here in this. But what you can do from here, you can also say who will do then this this service. So which resource, which employee I want to send. And here the same functionality. When you click on one of these jobs, you see here in the resources who could do this. So from the skill and from the availability, and then by drag and drop, you can place this resource on it. And if the schedule was successful, you see this here on this mark at the beginning of this job. And we have to do the same with the other. And we are happy that we can use the same resource for the other job of the machine as well. And in this way, we then can schedule the service job on this machine, on this asset. All connected by workflows. So as you know, and as you know this from inside, it works always here at the end in the same way. Also important, you have the possibility to switch the status also from here. So the assets, as I said, have their own status. So when someone at the machine say that the machine has a malfunction via the via the workflow, we could generate a task that someone has to do the service on the machine. Someone who is at the machine take the machine off for the time he do the service, and also he has the possibility later on to switch back the machine to the shop floor, that you can use this machine again. And in this way, we have always under control the availability of all these assets on the shop floor, and we can react on this if the machine is available or not, for example, in the production planning, in the scheduling, all this time. So this is what I would like to show you up a bit about the assets. I'm not sure, have I forgotten something, Nico? What you may want to add to this asset module?
Well, maybe just something, another example of how you could use the workflow for assets. So as Joachim told you, you could change the asset status, and maybe the machine is malfunctioning. And since we are relying on our workflow architecture, you could put a custom action into this status rule and then say, whenever someone on the shop floor sets the machine or the asset status to malfunctioning, send a mail to the production leader or whatever. So it's really powerful if you make use of the workflow of the underlying workflow infrastructure here.
So Jeff here as well, and there's also another a shop floor frame, a new shop floor frame that lets you, a shop operator influence the status of the asset. So if there is an asset tied to the work center of his checkpoint, he can actually indicate that that asset is malfunctioning or that it went down and so forth. So it doesn't have to be someone with full access to the asset management module. It's a new shop floor frame that's designed to be at the point of use to indicate the status of that asset at any point in time.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, then let us go on with our overview about that, what is new. I switch back to the little PowerPoint and let us see what is next. Next is some additional enhancement. As Jörg explained in the beginning, we did a lot with 12.4, and I picked up only a few of them to give you another impression, what is new, what is maybe useful for you. You know, maybe already our project task management, this was completely new, I think with 12.2, what we have with inside here. And we added here now additional the effort hours, so that we have now the duration and also the effort hours, what you can plan and decide about this, what should happen, how long it should take. And also here now in this form is available an on-demand action. So whenever you want to start something here on demand, it's also now in the task management available here with Insight. Another enhancement is the auto completion for products when you here entering a new order line. So in the moment when you enter a letter, a number, whatever, then we will see based on the catalog, based on the data, what is behind, and show you up on the list what we find. And yeah, as more as you enter, as more then shorter the list get. So it should help you a lot, hopefully, in the way how you find your products here, especially when you have new employees who don't know the codes, the product codes so well, then it's maybe easier for them really to get an overview about this. Additional, also in this part of Insight, it is now possible to undock not only the 3D view tab, also the option tab is now available to undock. And this allows you, when you have multiple features here, to separate this, put this on another screen or in another place so that you have a better view on all the data. And last but not least, something new on the purchase side. We have now an own workflow for the purchase order import. This also should allow you really to have a more powerful integration to your suppliers and using EDI and everything. So this makes it much more easier to have an actual update on the status of your purchase orders here. And another addition in this purchase part is the safety stock quantity can now also be dynamically calculated based on the historical usage and time of the items what you want to purchase here. Yeah, this should be the overview from our side. What is new, as I said, we did a lot of more. You have these release notes from 12.4 where you can have a look on it and see more details, more enhancement, what we did.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for joining today. And I hope that was a very good educational session for you guys. We don't want to make it too long, but we also want to do this in person, not only send an email out. We will continue doing this every 3 months. that you're updated by us, and hopefully you do have more questions, comments, good feedback for us on these new modules, so that we develop the exact kind of functionalities what the market requires, and you as our customers. With that, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I wish you all a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.